And good evening and welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. My guest this evening is Clinton Republican Town Committee member Chris Anaskovich. Chris.
Peter.
Hi, buddy. How are you?
Doing good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Now, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us exactly what you're involved with the town of Clinton.
Sure. So, been living in Clinton for 15 years now.
Okay.
Married. Have 2 children. I got a 15-year-old that actually goes to Vinyl Tech. And I got a 10-year-old daughter that goes to Pearson.
All right.
So she'll be sending Pearson off on its final adventure.
That's right, because they want to.
They're going to close.
They're going to close it. And
Yep. So about, let's see, probably 5 years ago, got involved with the Clinton Republican Town Committee.
Okay.
And then in about the past 2 years, got more involved on the executive board and have been serving as secretary for the last 2 years.
Like it?
Yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
It's fun to be involved. It's fun to, to do things other than, listen to everybody that wants to change and, to be involved in the change. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's good for the town, and it's an important part that we need to get more people involved in.
It is. And from what I see, you're also involved with planning and zoning?
I've been on planning and zoning for 4 years. This is my 4th year. Nice. Serve as secretary on planning and zoning as well. And that's been a real treat. That's one of the important things that goes on in town, and it's it's difficult. It's a difficult board to serve on because yes, politics come into play, but you try to, when you're out there, you try to make sure people understand that it doesn't matter if you're you have an R behind your name or a D behind your name or an I, that you do what's best for Clinton. So the decisions that we have to make on that board need to put the best interest of Clinton, at the forefront.
Exactly.
And that's the tough part sometimes.
Speaking of the planning and zoning, what's going on with the old Morgan property?
There's a group now that has an option to purchase the property.
Okay.
So that's in place now. I was at a Route 81 corridor study last week or 2 weeks ago when they were talking about that, and the developer actually showed up to that.
Awesome.
So he had made a comment during there that over the next couple weeks they'll probably start digging some holes to do some testing on the grounds. And at that point, they'll still have to come in front of planning and zoning, and they haven't filed a site plan, they haven't done anything with planning and zoning yet. So there's still that holding pattern on that, but there's there is a map that's out there and a plan that's out there for what they would like to do. So people, can certainly go to the town website and take a look at, what they're looking to do, which is in line with what the previous developer was going to do. So there's not much change. Commercial, there's some residential in the back, talking to doing a hotel. So a lot of good things. It's
Cool.
and for where it's going, it's in the great, it's in a perfect area for where it's going because it's directly across from Clinton Crossing.
Right.
And it makes sense. So once he does that, obviously there's some remediation on the building. Mm-hmm. He's got to do the demolition.
Right.
There's a long haul going. It's not something that it's not going to happen overnight.
No.
And it's probably a 5-year process that he said from beginning to end.
And from what people don't know, and I think you know it, I know it, the Morgan property where it is now, that's a deep piece of property. That goes back.
Yes.
That goes way back. I didn't realize how far back it went. I was talking to someone about it. And
it's been there a long time, and they're trying to do some of the, they're trying to do a walkway around the back of the property and keep that in place so that they still have access to that. Deep in the property, obviously, there's a lot of wetlands that that they're not going to be able to build on anyway. So to maintain that was important. Some of the integrity of the building site itself is important to the people in town because it's been here a long time.
Right. Now, as far as taking the building down, are they probably just going to bulldoze it, or are they going to implode it?
Yeah, I don't know what they'll do. It's going to be probably a difficult process because of how old the building is.
Yeah.
And some of the things that are in there, whether there be asbestos, whether there be any other chemicals that are in the ground from the body shop that they had there for a long period of time.
That's
Who
right.
knows?
Yeah.
So those are the things that. Luckily for the town, that's on the developer's dime. So we've done what we've done to be able to sell the property. Current Board of Selectmen did a great job negotiating a contract, and hopefully moving forward, it'll move through planning and zoning, like the last one did, without many hiccups.
Right. Speaking of planning and zoning, as far as, and you live in town, I live in town. I guess we have a new CVS property, CVS piece of property going up, and I guess also what are they going to do with the current piece of property that's there?
Yep. So the new CVS that's going up, I mean,
And it looks absolutely beautiful by
yeah,
that.
it's a nice looking building.
I went by it the other day.
So, obviously that was a big, shouldn't say problem. It was a big debate in town
Yeah.
about what people did and didn't want there. Personally, I felt that at the end of the day, what a lot of the people just didn't kind of understand is it's a private property. It was always a private property on which
Yes.
CVS is going.
Yes.
So unfortunately, when people come before planning and zoning, or when people have meetings and we do special committees to find out what we'd like to develop in town, we really don't have a big say in that. If somebody owns a property individually and they're a private property owner, we can't tell them what to do. And that was a lot of the confusion where people came in and said, well, let's do this or let's do that. Ultimately, it was up to the owner of the property.
Right.
And there's not much you can do. And that happens in a lot in town, and especially our downtown area where a lot of those are private property owners. And it's difficult, I mean, for me, it'd be like, I'm going to tell you what to do with your property. So, luckily it's a nice looking building. What was there wasn't the greatest thing.
No.
We have the train station going in, so that's going to happen as well. So it's going to develop the area to make it, look a lot nicer. So whether you were for it or against it, people, concerns about traffic, and it does exist, and everybody understands that. But there's nothing you can do about traffic. DOT does state that pharmacies are not a high traffic, area, right? So they're not something that they're looking to see that would be generating a lot more traffic down in that area. And again, if we live in town, we know what to do and not to do.
Exactly.
So,
now, what exactly are they doing with the train station?
I don't know the exact start date. We do know that it's going to happen.
Okay.
So that will be going up. The project will be started.
Cool.
And at some point they will do the flyover like they have in Branford and in Madison.
And in Saybrook?
And in Saybrook, yep. So they're talking about doing the same thing here. So again, that's something that's going to, help improve that area as well and develop it to a place where, the next step then would be Unilever. And the train station, the development of that area is important, I think, to, somebody that's looking to go in and develop Unilever, because now the area looks nice. Whether you were whether you're in favor or against, the CVS move, they've done a nice job.
They have.
And we have to, applaud them for the work that they've done on the property and, making it look the way it looks.
Now, they're probably not going to open until next spring.
Yeah, probably.
CVS,
Yep. They're moving quick. And
They are.
And then, the other problem just becomes now what do you do with the other building?
Right.
And again, that's a private property owned by an individual or, a group that owns that property.
Yeah,
So again, we don't know. And that's the problem that, and the concerns that a lot of people have is that, when these properties sell or these properties are moved to another place, now we have another empty building, what are we going to do? Right. And our problem downtown has always been, the density.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have sewers, so it's very difficult, and we're kind of limited to what we can put in unless you want to implode that area and redevelop it with new sewers and drainage, and then you can, the density's tough in that area.
It is.
We're lucky that we have a new restaurant downtown.
Right.
Nada's came in and they developed that property, and so I mean, again, there's a lot of positive things happening down there.
Exactly.
So it's important to just kind of keep that moving along. And, eventually we'll have the old Pearson School too. That'll be, empty coming soon. And then it'd be, what do we do with that?
When's that going to happen?
This is the last year, so the kids will be moved. End of this school year.
End of this school year.
So the fifth graders.
June, whatever.
Yeah. So the fifth graders will go to Elliott.
Okay.
And the fourth graders will go over to Joel. So,
wow.
Yeah. So
very sad because
I
went to the Clinton school system.
Right. People that have lived here for a long time are very upset.
Yeah.
And I guess the concern now is what do you do with it?
Right.
And that's a big question, and everybody has their opinions. And once we go through that process of what we should do with that building, I'm sure there'll be a lot of opinions.
Exactly.
Good, bad, and in the middle. So. And you deal with them.
I was going to say, I'm assuming that's a town-owned.
It's a town-owned property, so the town still has to maintain it.
Yeah.
Which was the problem with the Morgan site too. I mean, we've been maintaining that property, since everybody's been moved out of there.
Yep.
So you still got to cover insurance, still got to cover the utilities. So there's still things that the town still covers and not collecting any revenue. Our problem in town is, we need a tax base improvement.
Right.
If we build our tax base, then these budget problems that we come up, against every year. I mean, every year it's the same issue with our budgets. Everybody's, has problems with it, how much the increases are. Education is a tough one, but 70% is union jobs. It's very difficult, to kind of say that education budget can't go up.
Exactly.
So in health benefits, those never seem to go down. They always seem to go up. So I don't know, how quickly we'll see any changes as far as the closing of Pearson, but it's certainly not going to happen as quickly as people think.
No.
And I hope people understand that going into this budget season, that they understand that we're not going to see a decrease in our education budget because Pearson closed.
Right.
So, hopefully they'll understand that. Down the road will be, but again, what do you lose? You lose some teachers, you still have the enrollment of the students, but you lose some teachers, you lose some paraprofessionals probably, but ultimately, it's going to take a couple of years.
Exactly. Now the CVS property, that's privately owned?
Currently, the current
where
it
they
is
are
now,
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, what do we do?
Right.
You go to them and you're going to have to open up conversations.
Yeah.
As a town, you need to have that conversation with people.
Right.
As far as, what are your thoughts and plans with this building? I don't know if that's happened yet.
No,
so I can't speak to that. But again, it's, the development in our town, it's difficult.
Right.
Small towns, there's a lot of difficulty getting things done sometimes because if people have an attachment to properties.
Yes.
They have attachments to, how they grew up, where they grew up, and when we battle, as we battle in Clinton, you try to I personally take the politics out of it. Yep. I take it out of it.
Yep.
It doesn't matter to me, what party I'm from. I don't vote based upon the party that I'm with.
That's right.
I vote based upon what I feel is best for the town. And now that's not always going to be what people want.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the other flip side. So now you're talking about, I'm putting a vote out there. It may not be the vote that people all, like and want and believe in, but ultimately, it has to come down to something where we feel is going to benefit the town. Exactly. The old Stanley Bostitch on 145 is something that's been coming before us too. There's just a pad there of concrete.
Yes.
So we all knew what was going on before, with the recycling plant that they wanted.
Right.
Obviously they backed away. They didn't want to do anything now.
Right.
Developers are coming forth with a plan of maybe a recreational facility. So
Really?
yeah, indoor, and it who knows? They came in and they talked to planning and zoning quickly about, sort of what their plan was. Indoor soccer, batting cages, plenty of things that you can do. But again, who knows? There are people, once again, have their opinions on what should go there, and
Right.
we fight it out again. And it's
Exactly.
small town is difficult because, everybody wants to think that they have the best idea for a property, and unfortunately, it becomes sort of a battle sometimes.
Chris, would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Sure would.
We'll be right back.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show, sitting here with Republican Chris Anaskevich. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, my friend. All right, so we talked about planning and zoning and everything else going on in the first segment.
Yep.
Now,
No.
good thing. We, in the town of Clinton,
Yes.
in, I believe, this November, we're going to be going through a change.
Big change.
What is it? And tell us about it.
Sure. So on the last election ballot, there was a referendum that we would vote on a charter revision to our current charter,
Right.
which would change our form of government from a town meeting form of government
Yeah.
to a town council form of government with a town manager.
Aha.
Big change. Going to take a while, I think, for it to kind of all work out the kinks. So essentially, right now, as a town meeting form of government, the town votes on everything.
Yes.
So if there's a vote to go on in town, it's opened it up to every town citizen, and they come in, they vote in favor or against that.
Right.
Our change now, going to a town council form of government, the town will elect a town manager, who will essentially take the role of the first selectman, and the town will then also elect a 7-person town council.
Aha.
So the 7-person town council, people, were saying we're trying to take the politics out of it, but unfortunately it doesn't, because there's still a majority.
Right.
So you'll still have either a Democrat or Republican majority on the town council.
Correct.
You will put forth 4 Republicans, 4 Democrats, and then if an independent would like to run, they would have to get signatures in order to be put on the ballot. So that's how that would work come November 19. The current Board of Selectmen would do the vetting process of looking for a town manager and bringing that person forth to the town council once the town council is elected. So town council
Okay.
is going to be the hiring body of that town manager. So that individual will have a 3-year contract and a lot of back and forth with the town council. So the town council, that's elected by the townspeople, will still have a say in what goes on. So there'll be a lot of back and forth with that town manager that's going to, run our town.
Right.
There's some, and again, there'll probably be some things that need to be tweaked as we go forward, as it should be. A charter revision can always be brought forth, anytime in order to make those change or revisions. And it's going to take it's a big change. It's a big change for the townspeople. One of the things that we still haven't gotten away from those, the town will still vote on budgets. And a lot of towns that have the town manager form of government, town manager sets the budget, goes to department heads, and they work it out. In Clinton, we've decided that through the town charter revisions that the town will still vote on that. So, they'll still have a say in what goes on in a lot of the things in town. What I guess we're hoping for is they're taking the political side out of it.
Right.
Because the town manager, we're not electing a Republican or Democratic town manager. We're hiring a town manager.
A person. Right.
A professional that's going to come in that needs certain degrees in order to be qualified for that position. So yes, that's important. I think it's good. I think it, it hopefully will save a lot of trouble as we go forward. But you just want to make sure that, again, same thing. There'll be no difference between, how the Board of Selectmen sit and the town council sits. There'll still be more people involved in it, so there'll be more opinions of it. But there'll still be a political side of it, which, again, we just hope that people understand, let's not make it political. I understand people run under certain parties, get elected under certain parties. You just want to hope, how it all, works out. And what they'll do is the top 7 vote getters will be on the town council.
Cool.
And then the top 4 will have a term of 4 years. And then the next 3 will have a term of 2 years, so that there'll be less turnover.
Aha, okay.
So they make it easier so that people aren't going to be running. They're not going to be replacing the town council every 2 years. Upon election of the town council, then we'll hire a chairperson. And the chairperson then will be, I guess, what you would consider to be a mayor or,
Right.
selectman, as they do in other towns. We have it listed as a chairperson, but it's all sort of the same thing. I guess that person would be the forefront of, what, some of the things that would have to be handled. So that's the big move. The town council will hire the town manager once they get seated in November. So there will be a gap, because assuming you're not going to hire a person and that individual is going to come in the next day and start working.
Yeah, right.
So there may be a gap in time where we, we'll need to make sure we have somebody who's helping and running the town, whether that be the chairperson of the town council or not. Those are things, I guess, that'll have to be discussed.
Exactly. So what are some of the qualifications You have to be a town manager.
Yep, the full read is in the town charter.
Okay.
But masters, they're looking for people that have master's degrees in further education and financial backgrounds, because it's important that individual is going to be working a lot with the budgets.
Right.
Management. Working with a number of different people and department heads, because what happens is the town manager will work with the department heads when determining things that are going to be going on in the town. So, and again, I don't know, how much input or back and forth you'll have between the town council and the town manager. So, I mean, that's one of the things that we're going to have to kind of get used to going forward as well. And you got to make sure you have a good working relationship with that town manager.
Exactly.
I mean, there isn't out on the town side, should they not be happy with that person, but you certainly don't want a big turnover.
No,
because then
not.
you start having a turnover in that individual, we're not going to get new people walking through the door looking for that job too often.
No, definitely.
So, the town council needs to be flexible in how they look at things, and giving the town manager, the flexibility to make those decisions, and then have the backing from the town council.
Exactly.
It's very important.
It is. Now, as far as you said, there's going to be an election this coming November for everything? Mm-hmm. And everybody's just run.
What'll happen?
How's that going to work?
I think it's going to be a mess.
Yeah, all right.
So each party will nominate 4 people.
Okay.
So they'll put forth their 4 people that they, that they'll nominate for their party.
Yep.
At that point, I feel, my opinion is that we'll probably have more people that want to get involved and want to run, which is a good thing.
Right.
And at which point we'll probably be facing a primary.
Oh, good.
Which is good. Yes, get more people out. Good and bad.
Exactly.
Obviously, costs the town money.
Yeah, right.
But good that more people would want to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm assuming that'll be on both sides. That we're, each party will have their 4 members that they want to put forth, and then others that want to come forth and actually, give it a shot and, again, get the signatures, primary, do what they need to do, and I think it's good. More people they get involved, the better. Nothing against it. I think it's a great idea, as it relates to that, because you tend to see the same people over and over. And obviously, you want a change. You want people, you want a younger generation to get involved. You want a different opinion, and that's good,
Right.
But the problem sometimes, and the pushback always becomes that people don't like change.
No, of
And
course not.
nobody does, and our town's no different than any other town. When we see it at all aspects and facets of it. So you just try to make sure that you get the right people in there, and it's very important. It's a very important vote. It really is for our town. Because the people on that town council will also, need to work with the town manager, but also have the responsibility of hiring that person.
Right.
And you don't want agendas. You don't want, you don't want that. You don't. I mean, and everybody has them. Yes. I mean, everybody has opinions, whether you call them opinions or agendas. Everybody has things that they're passionate about,
Right.
and that's good.
Exactly.
But it also can turn to the other side when it becomes a fight. And bottom line is we need to work together as a town, because we're not going to get anything done unless we do work together as a town.
Exactly. Now, once the town council is elected in November,
Yep.
how long do you think it's going to take for them to hire a town manager?
That
Couple
I don't know.
weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it should be. I mean, the vetting process that the Board of Selectmen go through, you're hoping that they're going to bring you, 3 qualified candidates.
Right.
And then, which one of those that, the town
Which
council
one do you choose?
feels comfortable with.
Right.
Because they'll have to go through a vetting process as well.
Okay.
I'm assuming the town council is going to want to sit there and talk to that individual and have a discussion with every one of the individuals that they bring forth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the process of how the Board of Selectmen currently will go through that process.
Right.
If they're using an outside search firm, or it's just going to be, posting jobs, I don't know. Because that's not something that's read into or written into the charter.
Okay.
So, and this is the first time. So this
Right.
is like, for us, it isn't like, this is a completely new process.
Exactly.
So in the town charter, it's written that the town council will hire and fire that town manager.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all that was put in. So when you're starting for the first time, what do we do?
Yeah.
So then it became, okay, here's what we have to do. And you just have to be careful, because we're still in a town meeting form of government.
Right.
So you don't want to change things or do anything crazy, that's going to kind of change your current town charter, because you still have to, follow those rules and regulations that we have within town.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know the vetting process, but again, yes, you would hope that within a couple weeks from the town council being seated, that we'll have somebody that we're, happy with and want to bring into town.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It sounds like a.
It's an exciting time for the town.
It sounds like an exciting time for the town.
You hope that what they're doing and what we're doing here is going to work, and it just takes a little, it takes everybody to be, everybody kind of needs to be involved in that, and understand that there's going to be a learning curve in it, and not, get upset if things don't go their way in the beginning.
Exactly.
It's the way it is.
Wow, it's very exciting with what's going on in the small town of Clinton.
Oh yes,
Small
town of Clinton.
It is. It's very, very.
They're growing up.
They are. They are. And obviously, people are going to want to run for the town council, and
Right.
So
one of the other things actually
Yeah.
with the new town charter is the Board of Finance goes away.
it does.
Yeah, there is no Board of Finance anymore. So,
Really? I didn't know
yes,
that. All right.
So, because what happens is the town council and the town manager will work together on budgeting, and the department heads. So the town manager then will have a lot of say in the budgets, and then we'll work with the town department heads, and then the town council will be involved. So that was one of the things, as it related to this change, was that the Board of Finance would no longer be intact.
Wow.
So that board is gone. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we've got about a couple seconds left, so I just want to thank you for coming down.
I appreciate you having me,
Not
Peter.
a problem. And hopefully, we'll have you on again soon, and we can talk about maybe an update of what's going on in town.
I would love to do it.
All right, Chris Anaskovich, I want to thank you for coming down, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, buddy. On behalf of Chris Anaskovich, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.